Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Kosher, and you are now tuning into From the East Side with Love. So, today, we're going to talk about the NBA since it's around the corner. Got Laker news. You know, Russell Westbrook finally got signed to the Kings. We're going to look at the Western and Eastern Conference. We're going to talk about this Giannis Antetokounmpo drama that's brewing in Milwaukee. Also, we're gonna hit you with some Tennessee Titan news. I know people been hitting me up about what happened with Cali, so we'll talk about that and then get a live look at what the Dodgers are doing before we cap off the episode. So let's get into it. Um, the NBA news, as always, before we get into it though, check out the socials, Kosher FTESWL, and that's on X, on IG. We have from the east side with love underscore under each word, as y'all already know. Uh, TikTok is kosher FTSWL, and then the YouTube is from the east side with love 562. Appreciate any of the likes and subscribes. Love the support, guys. Been getting a lot of support recently, so definitely need it. Thank you for that. Now, I'm gonna talk about the Lakers because that's my team, obviously, and we got these three guys right here starting a full season together. Well, two of the three will be starting a full season together. Obviously, we know that Braun has sciatica. That's like an old man injury, man. Literally an old man injury. Like, no young player should have that. When you hear, or no player, active player, should you hear have sciatica issues. Um, so, as you can see, the big three right here. Two of the three will be starting. And you know, I I'm not necessarily worried about these three. I'm more worried about the starting five, and more so this man in particular, DeAndre Ayton. Um, I think that for the Lakers to go far, they're gonna need Ayton. Okay, that point blank, they need the defense, they need the rebounding, they need a true center. Anthony Davis has been calling it for a long time. We haven't really had a true five since the JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard days. AD didn't want to play the five. He got forced to stuck into the five. Gets traded. We had Jackson Hayes. We still have Jackson Hayes. And now we had DeAndre Ayton. Now DeAndre Ayton, when motivated, is a decent center. More than serviceable, probably a top five, top 10 NBA center when motivated. That's the thing. When is he motivated? Um, there's a lot to, there's a lot that's gonna come on this plate. Pause. Being on in the purple and gold, and we all know this. And yeah, he had a decent preseason game the other day, but that man in the middle, that man Braun, the man that all these pictures are centering, that's the issue. Those are the two issues that I have with the Lakers currently. Braun and Ayton. Is Ayton motivated? Will he step up when it's time to step up? And what does Braun truly want the Lakers to do? This is his 23rd year. He's entering his 23rd year. This will be his 8th season with the Lakers, the longest he's been with any team in his NBA franchise. Congrats to him. Or the NBA tenure, excuse me. Congrats to him. Congrats to the Lakers if you're a fan of that. Um, a lot to prove. A lot to prove for Braun. But vice versa, he's challenging the Lakers to prove to him that they are worthy almost of him staying there. And I think that's backwards. I think that the Lakers, in his current state, need Braun. Okay. They don't need him as much because we have Luca, but they still need Braun. Reason why? Because if you want to go to your second best player, that'd be Austin Reeves. And unfortunately, Austin Reeves hasn't showed up in the last like 3 or 4 playoffs. He tends to burn out at the end of the season. Braun has been there, done it time and time again. So we will need him to be the second best player. But it concerns me that not only has he had other obligations, he's had the glute injury. Now we have the sciatica injury. And Gilbert on his show, Gilbert Arenas brought this up, and but I've been thinking about this too. How locked in is Braun? A lot of drama with him and the Lakers and turning over the franchise to Luca. I don't think it's between Luca and Braun, but I do think that it's between Braun looking as a face, continue trying to be a face of the franchise, and I don't know. I don't want to say it's an ego thing. I don't know, but Braun's always been the guy, the face of things, and taking a backseat to Luca for a full season, will he be ready for that? Um, Still putting up great numbers, but he's not with the team. DeAndre Ayton, if you're gonna make him a big part of the team, I think he needs to learn how to play with Bron. Luca, if you want to make DeAndre Ayton a part of the team, he has to play with you. They haven't had playing. They don't practice. They're not hanging out. Ayton loudly. I want to say he's spoken as much. He said it. How is it to play with these guys? I wouldn't know. I haven't played with him yet. It takes a full season, I would imagine, to get locked in. Plus some more. You need and look, and I'm gonna use a Tennessee Titan analogy early. The now former head coach of the Tennessee Titans, he preached chemistry. He did as much as he could to get a lot of team bonding. He was trying to get the guys to lock in, to play for the brother next to you, to care about the person next to you. And Ron, 23 years in, he could be locked in. Luca, world talent. He's been playing, for his country back home this past summer. Obviously, lost the weight. We know he's in. AR, AR is as rugged as it comes. I'm sure he's ready for the start of the season at least. But Aiton, we finally land a serviceable center since the Dwight Howard JaVale McGee days, which is about 4 or 5 years ago. We need Braun and Luca as the leaders to come to Aiden and tell him what they want. Show him the buy-in. Get him comfortable. Show him where they want him to be at for certain plays, the lobs, the defense, everything like that. Get the gelling happening in the off season. There's no training camp now, really. Preseason's kind of fast. So what that tells me is Braun, Luca, and Aiton are going to be a work in progress. Austin Reeves with them, even though they play a little bit more together. It's all going to be a work in progress. The spacing on the floor. Bro, we're on the West. We're not on the East. Every game counts. You feel me? Every game counts. Seeding matters on the West Coast, okay? Home court advantage matters. These teams aren't out here to play. These teams are out here to get theirs. So they're not going to care about the Lakers trying to get all these play dates or trying to figure it out. No. If you don't have your stuff together, we run it over you. Straight, plain, simple as that. So even though the big three right here, they may have already had enough chemistry, played several games together. Obviously, we didn't get the most healthiest Luca. This Luca might be a little bit different than the previous version of Luca. The starting five though, I didn't even mention Rui. Obviously, Rui isn't as a big of a factor to the whole Aiton situation, but still, as a starting five, you would want these guys to play together, to be together, to move as a unit. And as far as we know, they haven't. Braun's not supposed to be back until November, maybe mid to late November. He's missing the whole first month. Plus, he's already missed the preseason. So that gives now that's like November. Now that's like push it into December. You have that NBA play the tournament. Like, when are the Lakers actually going to be able to say they are comfortable, they're ready to take this forward? I don't know. That to me is concerning. I think I think if this team was already together, if there wasn't as many, we have Marcus Smart, we have Aiton, um, Lavravia. Like, if these players weren't Maxi Kleber, like if these players weren't already on the team a year ago, fine. But these guys are new guys, and we're expecting them to contribute a lot, or at least their fair share. And I don't think it's fair to them if arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, depending on what side of the argument. I don't think Braun's the greatest, but you know, definitely a legend is not helping, not facilitating, not you're not getting to play with him until damn near two months into your NBA season, into the NBA season. That doesn't bode well. I mean, look, the Lakers made this turn it on at the end of the season, but I think for chemistry purposes, I think to make that deep run, you need all the reps you can get, especially now, for chemistry reasons. Do I trust Luca? I do trust Luca. Do I think Luca can carry the team? I do think Luca can carry the team. I think Luca could get us to, you know, fourth, fifth seed. But I think when it really comes down to play, and I'm not saying, and it's not so much for Bruno for Luca. It's more for the other players, for the Aitons, the Smarts, the Lorraine. Like, they need the practice reps. They're not blessed to have, again, all talented players in their own right, but they're not at elite level yet. Or maybe the Lucas and Braun they can figure it out on the fly. But these guys, I think for their just due, for their just service, they need that time. They need that extra time. Any time counts. So don't short them. Especially if we're trying to make a run. Now the drama with Braun in the off season and him trying to fill out the Lakers and stuff like that, like, this doesn't help. Your injuries do not help. It doesn't give, excuse me, it doesn't give the Lakers a fair shake, and it definitely doesn't give the team or himself, I would say, a fair shake, because it's like a lot of what ifs. What if you were there at the beginning of the season? What if you had more time to practice with these guys? What if the chemistry? So again, a lot of this stuff's gonna happen during the season, and you're already in LA. The spotlight's on you, and you can't get behind the eight ball early because the West is just that aggressive. You guys got to figure out your identity. Is LeBron leading the team? Is Luka leading the team? Okay, Luka, if you're leading the team, Bron, are you good with that? Like it seems like Luka. It seems like everybody knows, even Bron, and Bron is okay with Luka being the face of the franchise, and we already know that Luka is the future. But I just feel like Bron, we just need a little bit more buy-in for Bron, and I get it, 23 years in, but I feel like he's playing a little bit selfish, and it's like for what? Like you can't say you want a championship, but then unfortunately your body is in the position that it's in where you're injured in a, I would believe, meaningful time of the off season. So unless Braun and AD, or excuse me, Aiton and Luca can figure it out early and fast, I think that the expectations for a ring with the current status quo of the team is very high, or shouldn't be very high. Um, I think that there's too much drama between the friction between Braun and the Lakers. I don't think it bodes well for the team. I think once we can figure out what Braun is doing and the Lakers are ready to finally move on, or Braun's finally move on, that's when the Lakers will be in a better position to go for a ring. But right now, the standoff and Braun not calling it his last year or whatever, I think it's too much of a distraction. And honestly, even though the team has talent, I don't know if it's going to have the chemistry for for them to take it at the end. They're going to need that extra juice and everything that they can get on the West. The West, it's just what it is. So, Russell Westbrook, this is interesting to me because he just got signed to the Kings. And as you guys know, I am not a Westbrook fan, unfortunately. Did like him at one point, but I just feel like he's not he's not that guy. Now, definitely a good point guard, good human being. We're just talking about basketball. Just not my cup of tea. Um, I don't know how. So the King he finally gets signed. The King, I don't like this lineup. Okay, I think most likely he's gonna be behind Dennis Schroeder. I don't even know if Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook even get along, but I think they were even on the same Laker team too. But whatever. So there's that. Then you have Sabonis. Obviously, we know he's the GOAT. Then we have the DeRozan and Zach LaVine Bulls pair. And Malik Monk. I don't think Murray. I think Murray's injured, or I don't think he's cracking the starting five. They should give it to him. I think he might even be injured. Um, this team is small. Um, obviously, the Demar and Zach has not worked. I don't. I don't know where you go. I don't like this lineup. I don't like this team. Not just because they're the Kings. It's just I don't think it's a good team. Um, I don't know what. There's a lot to be desired on this team, and so happy that Westbrook's found a home. But this team is, and I don't know, man. Like I, I'm curious to see if they start trading or something's gonna have to happen. Something needs to happen in there. Like that's not it. So I want to look at the Western Conference. Obviously, there's no games to be played yet because the NBA season hasn't started. But if we look at it, and we can look at the teams that we believe are going to be in the playoffs. So we can go Thunder, Wolves, Rock, in no particular order. Thunder, Wolves, Rockets, Nuggets. So Thunder, Wolves, Rockets, Lakers, Thunder, Wolves, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Mavs, Warriors. Now I'm trying to think of like playing teams. That's eight. Pelicans, nine. I don't know. Maybe Trailblazers. I mean, the Spurs. Yeah, I like the Spurs. It'll be like the Spurs are going to be a fringe team, so we'll go with we'll go with the Spurs. Um, but you're gonna have at least the between the Thunder, the Rockets. You might have 350 win team, 450 win teams here. The the Thunder, the Rockets. As long as nobody gets healthy, I think the Nuggets are gonna be good. I think the Suns fell off. Um, Mavs will be interesting. Oh, the Grizzlies. I forgot about the Grizzlies. Ugh. So I think the Thunder, the Rockets, the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves are going to be mid to high 50s. Excuse me. I think that the Lakers probably get 50s, maybe like, or mid. Definitely high 40s, low 50s. Um, yeah, I don't see how the Kings are gonna beat a lot of these teams. I mean, you could probably beat the Trailblazers a couple of times. The Pelicans, depending on how the Pelicans start playing around. Um, the Suns, the Suns, the Jazz, like those teams are. But no, this, I mean this season, I believe straight up, whoever comes out of the West is gonna win, bar none, as it currently stands. With the East, this is fodder. Like it doesn't matter. Like this is with all the injuries that they have. Cavs have a chance. The Pistons have a chance. The Bucks have a chance. Magic have a good chance. The Knicks have a good chance. Those five teams currently probably are at the top of the heap, and then the Cavs probably are going to be a decent team still. They won, 60 games last year. The Knicks should be good. They should be able to dominate. I like the Magic as a dark horse team. The Pistons is another dark horse team, and then obviously the Bucks. The Bucks, with with even with the Giannis drama, Giannis on the East should be able to win 40 games. Should get you 40 games, 40, 45 games. The other teams like the Celtics, okay, like it's gonna be very big for Jaylen Brown. What's he gonna do? Him and Derek White are the two guys, right? Um, the Heat, Bam, Tyler Hero, Wiggins. What are they gonna do? Um, LaMelo on the Hornets. Um, Sixers, I mean, it's really on Embiid. You know, they could be a decent team, make the playoffs, but you're gonna need Embiid. So whatever that timeline is, the Nets with Michael Porter Jr. They could be a fun team to watch. I don't know how good they're gonna be, but they could be a fun team to watch. The Raptors, um, Indy doesn't have Hallie. You know, Siakam's gonna have to carry it. Like they have a good team, but for them to be go to become elite or go get to that, back to where they were, they're gonna need Hallie. So that's unfortunate. Um, I mean the Hawks with Porzingis, Trey Young out for revenge. I, I would like to see Trey Young make it past the play-in. Um, that's just been his Achilles heel. Like, and he needs help. They don't want to get him out of the team. They don't want to trade him, but he can't get help, so he's kind of like handcuffed, kind of a victim. Um, but that I'd be interested to see what happens there. But yeah, I mean the East, you might have, depending on how the Knicks do, and if the Cavs can repeat their success but stay healthy this time, that might be the two teams to fear. The other teams to me, would be the Pistons and the Magic, but they don't have enough experience. And obviously the Bucks, if you count Giannis, just tearing it up. Giannis would have the X factor because he has the experience, but I don't think he has the team. So the Magic and the Magic and the Pistons, to me, are the teams to look out for. And then everything else is a crapshoot because all the injuries to star players that have really kind of hurt the way the makeup of the East right now. And the East is usually weak anyway, so now it just became weaker because a lot of heavy hitters on the East have been injured. And then who knows what's going to happen with Paul George on the Sixers. So it's, the East is going to always be the East, man. Also interesting to note that the NBA games, like, there's going to be NBA games that are going to be starting at like 8 o'clock Western time, which is like 11 o'clock Eastern time, which means, like 2 a.m. games are gonna end, which is wild for East Coast people, man. I am so glad I am on the East or on the West, cause good lord, I'm from the East Side with love, but I'm on the West Coast. You feel me? Um, yeah. Let's look at this. So, God bless Giannis, man. I mean, look, man. All the brothers smiling, happy. Why wouldn't you be, man? Your brother in the middle has got y'all on the NBA team living the life. The Bucks are doing whatever they can to keep Giannis happy, except give him a competent team to make it to be able to compete back into round two or round three of the playoffs. I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen, man. I want Giannis to leave. Supposedly there was a exclusive thing with the Knicks. If he ever left, the team he would like to go to the Knicks. He said that he wants to move back to Greece eventually, retire over there. I would love for him to come to the Lakers. I think him starting his 13th year. I don't know if he's re-signed. I think this is why this is a big thing because he hasn't re-signed. So this could be his last year. Oh man, if Giannis made his way to the Lakers, I will trade Braun for Giannis in a heartbeat and keep the family together. You can have Bronny. We ain't got, and we'll take the brothers. We already had Alex, I believe. Alex was on the Lakers, so it'll be cool. Giannis could do his podcast over here on the West Coast. No issue, no problem. So to me, I think that with the Giannis drama, the Bucks the Bucks are gonna have to figure it out. They're gonna need to be able to upgrade this roster fast. I don't see them being able to upgrade this roster enough for Giannis to stay. But what does that mean for the rest of the NBA? How does that shift what's gonna happen? I believe if Giannis teams up with the Knicks are gonna be super high contenders. They're already contenders in their own right, but the way the team's stacked, oh, that would be nasty. If Giannis comes to the West Coast, ooh wee, depending on what team he goes to, like Timberwolves. Oh man, like Giannis is a very key piece in what happens for the Bucks to be relevant again, but also for another team to just like when you go to the Heat. Cause I know the Heat. I'd be interested to see if he went to the Heat, but but I would, man, if Giannis was to come to LA, man, I know he might not be, his family may not appreciate how liberal LA is, but oh man, that would be the move right there. Giannis to LA, y'all heard it here first. Bron leaving, we're bringing Giannis. All will be well. Luka and Giannis, I think, would be amazing. But anyway, guys, I would love to know y'all picks. I would love to know what y'all think about the NBA season. Any of the drama that's going on currently, between the Giannis drama, the Braun drama. How do you feel if Westbrook can make the Kings relevant? Um, do you think the Thunder can go back to back? I they could they're a scary team. They're young. Everybody's literally under contract. There's no contract issues. There's no injury issues. It's go. Their foot to the met pedal, foot to the pedal on go. Will the Thunder be able to repeat? How you feel about the Clippers? You think Kawhi and Harden can make a difference? Could they do enough when they needed the most, which is the playoffs? Um, yeah. So there's a lot to talk about. I'm excited for the NBA season around the corner. Love to hear y'all. So definitely, you see the socials, like and subscribe these videos. Definitely would love to know what's up. Before we end the episode, though, I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about what happened earlier this week. People have been hitting me up, wanting to know my thoughts. So y'all will hear about my thoughts. The Titans fired their head coach Brian Callahan. His dad Bill Callahan left. The old offensive line coach left with him, resigned and left with him. Unfortunate for the Callahans. They were 4-19 over 2 seasons, and you know it was looking rough. Got the number one pick last season. This season, basically, Cam Warren was not looking good. Um, had lost four in a row, then won one. The Cardinals. People are saying the Cardinals lost, and the Titans really didn't win, but they still won. And then lost again right after against the Raiders, which obviously the Raiders have their own drama, their own dysfunction. So Amy and the executive staff, Miss Amy is the owner, decided to Can the guy that was thought to be able to right this ship after they fired Rabel? Um, and there's been a lot of, unfortunately, firings between now and then. You know, you had the Rabes firing, I think a couple of GMs, and John Robinson with the whole AJ Brown. Then we had Rand Carthon. They fired him. They hired somebody else, which is Mike Morgazzi from the Chiefs. A lot of the drama. I know you guys are like, what? Why are you talking about? This is my team. It's the Titans, but it's also the first head coach fired in the 2025. Obviously, there's been talks of the Browns, Kevin Stefanski. I know I pronounced that wrong. Him possibly being fired already. Mike McDonald's on the Dolphins. Hell, even Harbaugh from the Ravens, because the Ravens have had a very sketchy start to begin. A lot of sketchy starts. A lot of the first quarter of the NFL season has been very surprising, to see the Colts be the number one team. Tampa Bay Eagles had a couple of losses that were questionable. The Bills had a couple of losses. The Chiefs been looking questionable. Like the Ravens, like there's been a very, like, a tide's been turning. Like the stuff, you don't know what's gonna happen any given Sunday, right? So I'm talking about the Titans right now, and the reason why, because the Callahan, it, it, it garnered a lot of attention. It garnered a lot because you have the number one pick, and there was a stat that showed, you know, when you have number one pick and you pick a quarterback, unfortunately, that if they didn't get a new head coach, that coach that was with that number one quarterback usually gets fired if they don't do well. So it happened in Carolina. I think it happened in Jacksonville, and I think it happened in another team. Maybe the Texans. I can't remember, but or the Bears. Excuse me. So now to the Titans. So it's like, and the issue that it seems with the head coaches or the coaching is the coach has a system already, or they're installing a system, but not necessarily installing plays within that system, or maybe they are, but not enough to make their comfortable, to make their quarterback comfortable, right? So these you have these systems that the coaching the coaching staff, the head coach is trying to implement, trying to get the quarterback to follow. And this is not why these quarterbacks, unfortunately, these offenses aren't that they're running aren't the reason why you picked the quarterback, or aren't the reason why they were the number one pick. Like, for instance, Cam Ward, he came from an air raid offense, and we are far from an air raid offense currently, the Titans, and he's struggling mightily. And this obviously led to Callie being fired. So it's more so, and you're hearing now like veteran quarterbacks and people saying like, "Hey, like Cam Ward's a good guy. He's gonna get once he gets it." And he even said himself, once he gets it, it's gonna, he's gonna be on notice. But what happened? You hear, I'm a Tennessee guy, so I hear the coach saying that they're gonna do these things like insult up tempo offense. They're gonna, they know what the player, the quarterback likes, but then don't see it translate on the field. What is happening? The play calling's off. So like, there's issues that, are these quarterbacks not being developed fast enough? Are they not being developed in college? Are coaches being stubborn and not giving them what they're used to? Like, what is it? It's probably a mixture of both. I think I saw Kurt Warner or somebody say it takes at least 30 to 50 games before you find out what a quarterback really is, and he settles into his own. But you're not giving these coaches 30 to 50 games, right? Like Cali had what, 24 games, 4-19, so which is abysmal, right? The Titans have been losing over the last like 3 or 4 or 5 years. Like they've double digit losses in the last several seasons. So, but I think it's concerning when you see somebody with talent like Cam Ward or the Caleb Williams or the Bryce Youngs, if you believe Bryce Young has talent, the Trevor Lawrences, and you draft. There's so much stock into the number one pick, and they're not successful early. Like, what is it? Do you push the panic button? Like, what's going on? But now the philosophy, or at least it's been spoken on, that players aren't the players aren't getting they're not getting comfortable fast enough, and it's players, not plays. That's what it sounds like a good coach knows how to do. They know how to adapt. They know what works for their current staff. They know what works for the current players. And it seems like when you look at the Buffalo Bills, you may look at the even the Giants currently with the Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson, how that switch up. You look at teams like the Browns with their even though for whatever reason, like it seems like that coach is good. Kevin's good. Um, you see Andy Reid, obviously Andy Reid's, it's Andy Reid. Um, what the Lions have been able to do, what the Packers have been able to do. It seems like these offenses have been catered to the skill set of their quarterback and the players, and it's more fun to watch. I wouldn't say the Eagles because I think the Eagles have a fundamental problem. Even though they do win games most of the time, I still think the Eagles' offense is too vanilla and too boring. But they have talent, um, and so they're excuse me the nexus of the issue for these teams that are trying to develop to be that the next is finding the system, but working with your draft pick. You literally drafted Cam Ward to be the face of the franchise, and you can't afford for him not you have the training wheels, but for him to not do well because that's what will happen. Unfortunately, yes. I know it's not like Top Ramen, what, Ocho and Shannon Sharp were saying, where, you expect instant success. Like, you're drafted number one for a reason. Your team sucks, 100%. But your quarterback, or whoever you're drafted number one, especially if it's a quarterback, I don't think it's good for their mental, unfortunately. They obviously are really talented and they did really well. And now they come to a losing team, losing franchise. That must take a lot of toll. So if you don't figure out how to make it easier or break them in faster, then I think you just break the player altogether because now it's like too late to salvage them. So unfortunately, I think that the Titans wanted to give Kelly some time, but Self wasn't working at a historical rate. Plus, you have Mike Vrabel coming back for the first time since he got fired, and I think that they didn't want to get embarrassed. They say that teams when they fire their head coach, there's like a boost, a morale boost, or something happens to the team where they just turn it up. Well, hopefully something happens. Hopefully they play better. Hopefully they execute better. But it'll be interesting to see Cam Ward's journey with this new interim head coach, Mike McCoy. He previously head coached the Chargers, which for the 4 years that he was there. 3 out of the 4 years, he had a top 10 passing offense. And then the other year, the 13th rated passing offense. His defense was but we had Denard Wilson for that. Even though there's some injuries and they have a lack of an edge rush, whatever. And then his run game was, but we want to see progress in Cam Ward. You want hope that Cam Ward can be the guy that you drafted him to be, or is he not? But I don't think he was getting a fair shake under Cali, unfortunately. Hopefully, all this changes, and we'll see. But obviously, the Trevor Lawrences, the Caleb Williams, even the Bryce Youngs, once they got a different coordinator and a head coach, or at least just a head coach, they were able to do better. And hopefully it follows the trend for Cam Ward. 'Cause I definitely would want that. I think Cam Ward's gonna be that dude. Believe me, you heard it here first. I think he can bring the Titans a Super Bowl. Any other NFL news, guys? Holla at me if you want me to talk about your team or if there's anything that excites you. Is there gonna be what's the next? Do you think the Titans gonna beat the Patriots? We know Mike Vrabel may relish this. I hope it's not a beatdown. I'm hoping the Titans win. I'm not hanging my hat on it, but I would love to see the Titans win on Sunday. Love to know your thoughts. Let's get a live look on what the Dodgers are doing. Dodgers are up 3-1 against the Brewers, top of the seventh. They're already up 2-0. I heard this there was an article that just came out about if there's a lockout, why there would be a lockout in the MLB. Because you have a team with I think over a 500 million, if not more, 500 million plus payroll in the Dodgers because there's no salary cap in the MLB. Over 500 million salary a payroll on the Dodgers versus a team with the Milwaukee Bucks with less than 150 million salary. So the Milwaukee Bucks have gotten this, or Milwaukee Bucks, excuse me, the Milwaukee Brewers have gotten this far with arguably, or not even arguably, easily 400 million less capital, or at least invested. And the Dodgers have gotten this far with that much capital, that much invested. So the argument would be salary cap to make teams to force teams to be more competitive. And we don't even talk about the NBA, the new CBA and that deal and the way stuff is structured. Like that's entertaining in its own right, right? Um, but um, or do you let it become like the Wild Wild West, which it currently is? And hey, if you have the money, you can win a ring. Which seems like the Dodgers, hey, can't stop us, right? Obviously, it still takes the Dodgers should be able to do it. It's not like it's just guaranteed. You know, there's injuries, there's chemistry stuff and stuff like that. But hell, the Dodgers might be the first team to go back to back since I don't know how long. I don't know if the Astros did it. They're not like Astros because obviously they cheated and whatnot. But it doesn't look like they're going to stop at the Dodgers. And you know what's crazy is that Shotani and Tio, at least for sure Shotani, has not been playing well. They're still doing their thing. They're still doing their thing. So definitely would be interested here to see y'all and know your thoughts about that. Even though I don't want to talk about baseball, we'd love to know your thoughts about that. And that and last but not least, I do want to mention back to the NBA. Malcolm Brogdon has retired. He was on the Knicks. He got signed to the Knicks, I think this offseason. And he's retiring. The 2017 Rookie of the Year is retiring before the 2004 Rookie of the Year, LeBron James. I leave you with that, guys. As always, stay blessed, stay positive. Please check out the socials, Kosher FTESWL on X, from the East Side with Love underscore the each word on IG, on TikTok, Kosher FTESWL, on YouTube, from the East Side with Love 562. I need all the likes, the loves, the subscribes, the comments, all social interaction is good social interaction. I do have some news, but I gotta wait. But yeah, guys, everybody stay blessed, stay positive. We out. Peace.